Cedar Point has decided not to scrap the ride, but instead to bring in Zamperla and not the original manufacturers of the ride, Intamin, in order to completely revamp the ride. They're going to be removing the original hydraulic launch of the coaster and replacing it with a new LSM launch, adding a backward spike onto the coaster, and rather than just having one launch over and up the top hat, they're going to be having a multi-pass launch with two different rollbacks, from the vertical spike on the top hat and the new backward spike element, and they've completely revamped Top Thrill Dragster into Top Thrill 2. Now, like I said, this is being done by Zamperla, a manufacturer which has never made a coaster anywhere near the size and scale of Top Thrill 2, and for me this could be a completely new revolution within Zamperla, and I think this could be the start of a brand new era for the company and could be what propels them to one of the biggest and best coaster manufacturers in the world in the future. Or it could go the other way and it could go horribly wrong for the manufacturer, and this may be the last job they ever get to create a coaster of this size. So in today's video we're going to be talking about, will Top Thrill 2 be the start of a new era for Zamperla as a manufacturer, or will it go completely wrong for them? If you do enjoy today's video, please do give it a like, it massively helps out the channel. Subscribe to Coasternaut for more videos like this in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and let's get into today's video. So in the past, Zamperla have definitely been probably better known for their flat rides. I think they're probably one of the best flat ride manufacturers anywhere in the world. They have some fantastic models like the Discovery or the Nebulas, so they offer a large variety of flat rides, both targeted at family flat rides or some of the most thrilling flat rides anywhere out there, and they have a great portfolio and diversity of flat rides, and I think most parks could probably benefit from a load of Zamperla flat rides. I've definitely said Alton Tower should definitely buy a package of Zamperla flat rides. However, they've definitely never been very much well known for their coasters. I mean, if we look at some of the old Zamperla coasters, obviously we have the Volare, which is one of the most hated coaster models anywhere in the world. Their attempt at a flying coaster. Any park that has a Volare, I think most enthusiasts are desperate for that Volare to be removed. They are not very good at all. They're a really strange contraption that you're sort of sitting in. They have bars in front of your head. It looks like you're in some sort of flying prison. It's so rough and uncomfortable. However, they do make a lot of children's coasters, and I think their best coasters probably are their children's coasters and their junior family coasters. They have quite a wide range of coasters there. They have some spinning coasters, some launch coasters, they have their moto coasters and everything. But on the grand scheme of things, they're okay at best. You know, they're not one of the most well-known manufacturers in the world in terms of like B&M, Intamin. It's not like people are going around saying, oh, our park, my home park needs this Zamperla coaster fast. This will massively change how good the park is. They're okay. However, in the past few years, I think Zamperla have recognised that. I think they've gone through a bit of a change in hierarchy at the top of their company, and they've announced over the past few years some potential new models. We haven't seen any of these new models actually be built yet, unfortunately, but it's clear that, you know, through things like IAAPA, they're trying to get all of their new coaster models and ideas out there. We've seen things like the Double Heart model, which is essentially their take on something like a Premier Skyrocket 2, or the Intamin Zack Spins. Obviously they don't spin around, but you know, something on a small thin plot of land. And these coasters look you know, good for a lot of smaller parks. I can see a lot of smaller parks potentially being interested in these. I'm not quite sure why none have been built just yet. I imagine the capacity would be an issue at a larger park, but I think it would be a good addition at some of the bigger parks. But on top of that, you know, we've seen them reveal these sort of concept videos of multi-launch coasters, things that look very similar to the Intamin ones these days. They have the brand new trains, the Lightning trains, which will be on something like Top Thrill 2, and I think it's definitely something that I can see them doing more of in the future. That's obviously in the present now, but even in the past sort of 10 years, we've seen them try to expand their thrill coaster offerings with things like the Thunderbolt coaster that you can find at Luna Park Coney Island, for example. So it's clear that Zamperla, over the past sort of 10-15 years, are trying to build their way more into a thrill coaster company. It started with like the Thunderbolt and things like that, but over the past few years and months, they've definitely been releasing more and more of these different concepts, like the Double Heart and like their multi-launch coaster. And with something like Top Thrill 2, I think that's really what's probably best for them as a way to kickstart their company. You know, they're not going to Cedar Point and building a brand new thrill coaster which everyone's been waiting for years. They're just converting an older coaster. So if it does go dreadfully wrong, I suppose it's not the end of the world. I think if people would really hate to see something like Top Thrill 2 go wrong. Dragster was one of the most popular coasters in the park, and if for whatever reason it does go wrong and over the next few years does need to be removed or whatever, I can obviously see that going down pretty poorly for the company, but it's not the end of the world. It's not one of their coasters. They will always have the excuse of, you know, we've been building off something which Intamin initially built, sort of thing. But within the Cedar Fair chain, I definitely can see, if it does go well, Cedar Fair bringing Zamperla back for multiple new projects. I think, you know, look at a very similar coaster, a Intamin hydraulic launch coaster, Accelerator, over in Knott's Berry Farm. That has not really operated properly since before the pandemic now. For the past sort of 3 or 4 years, there's been very little times when the coaster has been ever open. If it is open, it's only open for a very small period of the year. It's had massive amounts of reliability issues, and I can see them doing a very similar thing to what they've done with the launch mechanism on Top Thrill 2. I can see them definitely removing the hydraulic launch, even if they don't alter the layout like they've done with Top Thrill 2, even if they keep the exact same layout with Accelerator. I can definitely see them at least replacing the launch system from a hydraulic launch into an LSM launch. That is definitely something I think can happen more and more. I would hope it's not just within the Cedar Fair chain. Maybe here in Stealth, I love Stealth here in the UK, but give that another 10-15 years, if that's come to the end of its service life, potentially we can see a backward spike in LSM launch added to Stealth. Would someone like Merlin work with Zamperla? I don't know. We've never seen those companies work too well together before in the past. However, it's always a possibility. If this does go really well, I can see them similar to how RMC converts old wooden coasters. Maybe Zamperla, at least for now, even if they don't build many of their own new coaster concepts, we can see them sort of being a company that gets brought in to revamp old launches, old LSM launches, old hydraulic launches, with their new lightning trains and things like that. I think that could definitely be an option. However, briefly going back to Knott's Berry Farm, we've seen reports over the past few weeks that the project for Montezuma's Revenge being revamped, their old Schwarzkopf shuttle loop coaster, and that seems to be going completely wrong. I think by the sounds of it, that project might actually be scrapped, and Montezuma's Revenge might unfortunately be scrapped. That is an unfortunate thing to happen. However, this could be another good point for Zamperla to jump on. I've been talking about the double heart coaster model. That is a multi-launch coaster, and so is Montezuma's Revenge. This is essentially a new version of Montezuma's Revenge in the sense that it is a multi-pass, multi-launch coaster. It is a spiritual successor, and it's also another coaster that fits on a very thin, very long plot of land. Potential, if Montezuma's Revenge does have to get ripped out for whatever reason, if that project has been scrapped, could we see a Zamperla double heart coaster be built on that plot of land? Smaller parks could also do with a double heart model if they're looking for a launch coaster. It's unlikely that a smaller park could afford something like an Intamin multi-launch coaster. Could they afford one of these Zamperla multi-launch coasters? I think with how good coasters like Velocicoaster have been over the past few years, Titatis, Pantheon, we're seeing a lot of these Intamin multi-launches nowadays. I think a lot of parks are looking for launch coasters now. I think they're a lot more popular now than they have been in a long time. Potential, if a park inquires to Intamin, they can't quite afford what Intamin are quoting them, maybe they'll go to Zamperla and buy one of the Zamperla ones. They look just as good from what we've seen in the concept art, and if the lightning trains are as good as they look, potential that we could see a lot more of these Zamperla multi-launch coasters coming. But what are your thoughts? What do you make of the different coaster concepts, like the double heart coaster and their multi-launch coaster? Or do you think these coaster concepts won't ever be built? Why do you not think they'll ever be built? Will Top Thrill 2 go well, or should the park have gone with Intamin? I'd love to hear your thoughts down below. Should Zamperla stay as a flat ride manufacturer mostly? Can you ever see them becoming one of the top coaster manufacturers, such as B&M, RMC, Intamin and Mack? I'd love to hear your thoughts and feedback down below. Thank you very much for watching today's video. It massively helps out the channel if you give the video a like, subscribe to Coasternaut for more videos. Thank you very much for watching again, and I'll see you in the next one.